Welcome everybody to our May Hope session, Living in Color, Slowing Down with Watercolor. And my name is Jessica Fuquay. I'm the Programs Manager of Arts and Healing Initiative, and I'm also your Zoom host today. So as I mentioned to Rosalind, if at any time you need help or support with Zoom, please DM me and I can try my best to assist you. This program is presented in part as part of our Free Hope series. Healing Online for People Everywhere, which we created to support the resilience of our global community through social emotional arts. Each workshop offers a supportive space for connection, healing, and empowerment as we navigate the changes in our world. If you've previously attended a Hope session, welcome back. I see some familiar names in here. If you are new, thank you for joining today. We're grateful you are all here to create, learn, and grow together as a community. Today's program is in a meeting format, so please keep yourself muted until prompted otherwise. We are recording today's session in speaker view to be shared on our YouTube channel, and we welcome you to leave your cameras on as you feel comfortable, as we'd love for you to actively participate. Our session today is scheduled for 1.5 hours, and feel free to add questions in the chat as they arise, or use the raise hand function. Before we begin, we would like to acknowledge the Tongva Nation, on whose home and land the unceded territory of Los Angeles resides. As we are reminded of our environment's vulnerabilities, we hold respect and gratitude for the Tongva people who still consider themselves the caretakers of this land. By their example, we are reminded of our responsibility to our planet and one another. Let us reflect on and pause and honor with gratitude the indigenous communities of past and present on whose land you are joining from today. And as I pass it off to our presenters in just a moment, I'll also share with you a resource to find whose native land you're on. So that will pop up in the chat in a moment. So without further ado, let's welcome today's presenters. First, I'd like to introduce Nadia Paredes. Nadia F. Paredes helps people connect with their inner creativity and empower their mind and soul. With expertise and training as an art therapist, intuition painting facilitator, and a licensed marital and family therapist, Nadia creates programs for transformation, creativity, and art making as a mindfulness practice. Nadia is an adjunct professor and art therapy supervisor at Loyola Marymount University, where she teaches about art activism. Learn more at artfooddreamers.com, and I'll put that link in the chat as well. And today's workshop is co-presented with LACMA, and joining us today is Elizabeth Gerber. Welcome, Elizabeth. We're so glad to have you here. Elizabeth is a senior educator of programs engagement at LACMA, and will present an overview of the current exhibition at LACMA, We Live in Painting, The Nature of Color in Mesoamerican Art. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the baton to them.
All right. Thank you so much, Jessica, for that beautiful introduction. And welcome, everyone. I'm so excited that you took the time today to come here to give yourself space, particularly to slow down, right? I think that it is such a rough practice in this current times where we're all busy and going everywhere and, trying to support our communities. I know to our local LA people, we've had definitely a very challenging beginning, like, 2025, yet here we are. So thank you so much, for being here, for taking time for yourself, for being present. I know many of you, I see some familiar names. I'm like, I know you're healers as well. So I'm glad that you're taking some time to replenish. So before we begin, I want to, kind of like introduce Elizabeth Gerber, who is, kind of like she's the one that helped put all of this together, in inspiration with this exhibit, that she will be in a short time telling us about colors. So, the importance of color in Latin American culture. So, Elizabeth, why don't you walk us through this virtual exhibit now?
Yes. Thank you, Nadia. And it's just great to be here with you. Great to be here with Arts and Healing Initiative. Anytime LACMA can can work with this group. We are delighted to do that, and it's lovely to see everyone here, even though we're meeting virtually. It's everyone's in for a lovely 90 minutes, I think. The watercolor painting is, I think, what's going to be really exciting today, but we thought it might be worth just spending a few minutes. I'll walk through this exhibition briefly, show some of the installation photographs, as well as a few artworks, just to give a little bit of the intellectual kind of framework of this exhibition. As was mentioned, We Live in Painting, The Nature of Color in Mesoamerican Art is currently on view at LACMA and will be on view into September as part of the Art and Science Pacific Standard Time initiative. And really, this exhibition is looking at millennia in a sense, because Mesoamerican artists have for many years harnessed their knowledge of the natural world to create a really remarkable spectrum of colors. And their use of colors provides a window or a way to understand the workings of the cosmos and the workings of the Mesoamerican world. And so I'll read a little bit of the exhibition text to get us started. In Mesoamerican cosmology, space is defined by its 5 directions, 4 corners, and a center. Time is defined by the sun's cyclic movement through space. The daily transit through 3 interconnected realms, celestial, terrestrial, and aquatic, that kind of watery underworld, creates both day and night, and the sun's yearly travels along the horizon at sunrise and sunset create the year. The furthest limits of the sun on the horizon at the solstices mark the 4 corners of the cosmos, thereby linking time to space and space back to time. And so when we think about that darkness and light and the sun's movement, the hues of color and the ranges of color are fundamentally related to the rainy and dry seasons, as well as annual and daily movements of the cosmos. So the exhibition focuses on 5 color areas, 2 of them get combined, but starting with white, which really is kind of the cosmic potential. And white in the Mesoamerican world makes all things possible. Mesoamerican artists transformed raw white materials into mediums suitable for coloring, dyeing, painting. If you think about beating the amate tree into paper sheets, or white cotton becoming into textiles, the process of limestone powder onto fine plasters and white vessels, we see some here. This really is kind of giving the generative potential of art making, so to speak. And then in kind of relationship with the white and that potentiality there, black and red then form a complementary pair in Mesoamerican conceptions of the world. And together they comprise a limited palette meant to depict primordial supernatural events, evoking that time before the first sunrise. And what was really amazing in this exhibition is we have some mural fragments on loan, on display, and I'll show some details of them as well. But you can see the wide range of where these reds and blacks come into art making. And here we have mural fragments from Teotihuacan, where muralists developed an aesthetic approach that played with the subtle shifts in the red hues to kind of create a night vision. And so if you can imagine moonlight coming across this and some of the sparkle coming through, it gives you that that primordial night aspect. Here's another detail. Moving along, Maya Blue, as it's often called, which I think this exhibition can even say it's Mesoamerican blue for the wide range of ways that we see blue across time and space in the Mesoamerican world. But as early as 250 BCE, Mesoamerican artists engineered artificial blues, trapping indigo dye in the structure of white clays. And it kind of becomes near sacred status across Mesoamerica for its versatility, stability, vibrance, and in a way emulating some of the most precious materials, including jade and turquoise. So, you know, a figure such as this, which is quite small actually, but exquisite in the details, you know, are primarily representing elite men and women, often in this elaborate adornment that we see. And, you know, you can see how the regalia and the jewels are depicted there with the Maya blue. And then last but not least, the blue, green, and yellow in the Mesoamerican world symbolizes jade. Through jade symbolizes maize and one of the region's staple crops. And kind of the variety, the natural variety in jade spectrum of colors. I think this exhibition is showing how it does also emulate the agricultural cycle, from new growth to maturity to dormancy that we see throughout a year. And there's just a phenomenal display of these celts in the exhibition. I'll show a few more details that also sometimes have the carvings, and as well the ephemeral associations with life of breath, water, sunlight. Those also become associated through these colors with the jade celts. So I think so much in this exhibition, we're seeing that colors are relational and contextual. It can be abstract, and they're relying on multiple associations, but all the ways that artists, you know, have used and continue to use chemistry, physics, observation, a whole range of raw materials to respond to the way the cosmos work. And I just wanted to end by showing a few images from a contemporary artist installation that's part of the exhibition as well, because it was very important to show how this lineage also comes into our contemporary world and is passed along, and the role of artists as creators, as knowledge holders, as inventors, and how they build upon these lineages of knowledge, and the important relationship with nature and with natural elements, I think is all things that we can think about and take away from this exhibition as well. So some also incredibly contemporary, stunning textiles. And I'll just read a brief quote here by the artist who was responsible for this installation. "Color embodies an historic timeline of where and when pigments are harvested, the knowledge embodied within the seasonality of nature and labor, and the relationship that the artist generates with the ecology itself. Every plant holds a database of its birthplace and the conditions of how it grew, which means a piece of art made with its color will be an archive of information that represents a time and history that will never be repeated." So I think I'll end it there for kind of the official art history piece of this, and turn it back over to Nadia to start framing the wonderful art making that we have ahead of us.
Yes, thank you. I will say that installation was like my favorite part. It's like I loved it. And, you know, it seems Porfirio is a very wise person for sharing that. That is a lovely way to look at colors. And today you will be exploring that as well within yourself. And we will talk about it a little more. But anyhow, so we are here because we want to make art. But before we make art, well, I will talk to you a little bit about, well, who am I? Art therapy. What do we do? What is it? So, when we think of art making, and I know many of you here are probably already familiar with, you know, uh, healing arts, with knowing that, that art is a healing practice, that creativity is important for our growth, for our self-exploration. But in case we do have people who are not familiar with this, let me explain to you what we're going to be doing today, right? Today, we're going to be making art that is process-based, not product-based. So when we think of product-based art making, it's like we have an idea and then we make it happen, right? We think of a boat and then we paint the boat. However, when we paint the boat, sometimes we get frustrated because the boat is not looking like we envisioned it, and then we get frustrated, right? So sometimes that's why people stop making art. However, if we think of, process-based art making is like, I don't know what I'm creating. It's like, I'm just here for the process of what's emerging in the moment for me. And then I'll be surprised at the end by what was created, right? So how do we follow that? Well, we usually then will have an intention, and I will talk about it in our next slide. But for now, let's just say that there's a difference between fine art and then art that is fine for me. Fine art is what we see in museums. It's a job. People study for it. People, get degrees for it. But then there's art that we make that is just fine for us. We make it and it makes us feel good. And that's all we are looking for today. We just want to make art that we're good with, that we're like, oh, this was a great experience, right? It helped me. It helped me grow. It helped me feel better. It helped me slow down. Probably that's my aim for you today. It helped you slow down. We want to go, from automatic reactions, because usually we're like, again, we're living in a very accelerated world. We're going to be, just doing things out of habit, out of, just because we do them. And so today I want us to just focus on self-awareness, right? Of kind of like, how am I feeling? And you will be guided through an exercise later today that helps you with that self-attunement and going within. When we make art this way, if this becomes a practice for you, I invite you, like what we're doing today is something you will be able to do at home. So when you do that and when you do this often, you can start building new neural pathways for yourself. You can start to build new ways of existing within you. So I highly recommend, just continuing this practice forever and ever. But in case we don't, I just want to know if anybody here is familiar with the concept of an artistic scar. Does anybody here know what an artistic scar is? I see some faces like, oh, maybe. All right. So if you don't know what an artistic scar is, let me tell you. Brené Brown, everybody here know Brené Brown? It's like Brené, my friend here. So, she did some research about vulnerability, and turns out that 85% of the population experiences something so embarrassing that they stop being that way, that they stop doing things, that they stop that part of themselves from actually developing. Out of this 85%, turns out that around 45% of these people have an art-related issue, right? What does that mean? That many people out there stop making art because they developed an art scar, right? Somebody told them, somebody shamed them, somebody made them believe that they couldn't make art, right? So I hope, that by making art in this way of healing, that we can heal that scar, that we can get over it. Because we're all artists, we're all born that way. Children talk, dance, make art even before they speak, right? So it is only natural that this is the way we communicate. And this is why, we're making workshops like these today, because we want to bring that awareness to everybody. When we're showing our art, I highly recommend not talking about other people's art in a good way or bad way. Why? Because that interrupts a process, right? If I tell you, oh my God, that is very beautiful, you will want to protect this thing and you will not allow it to exist or to become what it needs to become, right? The same thing if you say, oh my God, that's very ugly. Well, A, don't be an art scar maker. Don't do that to other people. But B, it's, it's kind of like, that's your opinion. It's not a fact. It's something you think. So we don't want to create other art scars, but, we also don't want to interrupt someone else's art process. And also, if this is the first time that you are engaging in process-based art making, you might notice yourself thinking a lot, thinking too much, like, am I doing this right? Is this okay? Oh my God, that looks ugly. Did I choose the right color? So if that's your case, if you're overthinking, please remember that here in this space, we are playing, right? We are playing to make art. What does that mean? That, when we do play, we don't have consequences. Nothing will happen if your art isn't what you expected today. If it's not pretty, that's fine. What matters is that you learn how to use the art to connect with yourself, right? So when we think of mindfulness in art making, I want you to think again that this is art focused on yourself and not the product. As I was just sharing, it doesn't matter how it looks. It matters how you feel inside. So just focus on your creative steps, to be focused in the present moment. And you will know what I mean when we actually go into the art. But become particularly observant, right, of your body's reaction. Today, I'm inviting you to make art while looking at how your body's feeling while you're making it, right? Just noticing like, oh, this feels very nice and relaxing, or, oh, I'm feeling tense. I'm noticing like my shoulders. I'm crumpled up. Okay, just noticing that, right? Noticing that for yourself without judging it. You don't need to change anything. It's just like, aha, I'm wondering. I just noticed. Today, again, it's about color particularly, as I see that exhibit, I felt so connected to it because color has been a huge part of my art therapy practice. And because I think a lot of the symbolism of color. And then when I saw that exhibit, I realized it's probably because if it's ancestral heritage. I was born and raised in Mexico. For me looking at the mural of Teotihuacan felt like I was back home with my mom. My mom's an art historian, and she was talking to me about all these art pieces. So it just felt kind of like being back, right? But definitely thinking of why color matters. And we'll talk about a little bit of that science in our next slide or in a couple of next slides. But the point is today we're going to be curious about form and movement. We're going to be creating art that uses exactly form, and then you will notice how your body feels, and then speed. How is that movement going for you? And we're going to use that as a way of inspiration to create art with, of course, the color. And the point is we're integrating body, mind, and spirit. We want to integrate yourself holistically. We want to be mindful of our body because usually, again, when we're speeding away, we're not noticing, hey, how am I feeling? Have I eaten? Have I had a glass of water? It's like that. I think that we can all relate, right? Where you're just like going, but then you just don't pay attention to your body anymore. So we'll use that as an anchor today. And as I was sharing, when we're making process art, we are going to use an intention. What does that mean? Whenever I feel bored or I feel like, this is not making sense, I go back to, wait, what was my intention? Today's intention is slowing down. So if what you're making is no longer making sense, ask yourself the question, is this helping me slow down? Or what would help me slow down artistically, right? Maybe I need to just paint very slowly with my brush. Or maybe I need to paint very fast first to let all that energy out, and then I can give space for for that slow movement. So I know I speak a lot. So we're here for the art. So let's start with that. We're going to start with a body scan meditation. Like if you practice mindfulness, you will know it's just, going through the body. But we will be integrating some creative components here. We're going to be integrating color, right? I'm going to be guiding you through this meditation. You're going to be noticing colors. Don't feel like you need to remember every single color that comes to you. Just let it flow. Just notice what comes to you. And then we'll have time to think about those colors. Okay. But for now, just stay present with this moment. And so I would like for all of us, if it feels safe, you can close your eyes. If it doesn't, then just look downwards so that you can give your brain a signal of relaxation. Make sure you're sitting comfortably on your chair or the floor, or a cushion, wherever it feels comfortable. Just make sure your body's uncrossed. And we're all going to take one deep breath in together through our nose, just breathing in and breathing out through our mouth. Take another deep breath in through your nose. And when you do so, feel the tension in your body as you breathe in. And breathe out and let go of that tension. Breathe in again through your nose. And breathe out through your mouth. And loosen your body, relieving it from any tension that's been held for the day. And I want you to notice the soles of your feet. And imagine a color is emerging from the soles of your feet. In what shape or form is this color emerging? Notice it. And then notice your entire foot. What color is emerging from it or from them? And in what shape and form? Siente tus pies. Now notice your calves. What color is emerging from them? And in what shape and form? Notice your shins. What color is emerging from them? In what shape and form? And now notice your knees. What color is emerging from them? And in what shape and form? And now notice your thighs. What color is emerging from them? In what shape and form? And just notice your legs. The colors emerging in shapes and forms. Y siente tus piernas. Now notice your hips. What colors are emerging from them and in what shape and form? Notice your sexual organs. What colors are emerging from them? In what shape and form? Now notice your stomach. What color is emerging from this area and in what shape and form? Notice your lower back. What color is emerging from it? In what shape and form? Now notice your upper back. What color is emerging from it? In what shape and form? Now notice your chest. What color is emerging from it? In what shape and form? Siente tu tronco. Now notice your shoulders. What colors are emerging from them? In what shape and form? And now notice your biceps. What colors are emerging from them? In what shape and form? Now notice your elbows. What colors are emerging from them? In what shape and form? Now notice your forearms. What color is emerging from them? In what shape and form? Now notice your wrists. What colors are emerging from them? In what shape and form? And now notice your hands. What color is emerging from them? In what shape and form? Siente tus brazos. Now notice how your hands connect to your arms, connect to your shoulders. And now notice your neck. What color is emerging from it? In what shape and form? And now notice your jaw. What color is emerging from it? What shape and form? Now notice your mouth. What color is emerging from it? In what shape and form? Now notice your cheeks. What color is emerging from them? In what shape and form? Now notice your ears. What color is emerging from them? In what shape and form? Now notice your nose. What color is emerging from it? In what shape and form? Now notice your eyes. What color is emerging from them? In what shape and form? Now notice your eyebrows. What color is emerging from them? In what shape and form? Now notice your forehead. What color is emerging from it? In what shape and form? Now notice your hair. What color is emerging from it? In what shape and form? And lastly, notice the top of your head. What color is emerging from it? And in what shape and form? Take a moment to notice your entire body sitting here today, pouring out colors in different shapes and forms. Siente tu cabeza, siente tu cuerpo. And we're going to take One deep breath in through our nose to start coming back into this realm of reality. So take a deep breath in through your nose very calmly. And slowly release the air through your mouth. Breathe in again, very slowly through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth. One last time, deepest breath yet. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe in a little more. And breathe out and open your eyes. Coming back to the space. So what I want you to do now is you're going to try to capture the colors that you saw during the meditation. Again, using whatever colors you have in front of you. Just try and capture them. What colors did you see? And fill a page with these colors. Right? And we'll have probably 10 minutes for this, and then we'll do a quick check-in if people need a little bit more time. Okay? If you didn't see any colors or shapes while you were doing this meditation, do not worry about it. Simply look at your watercolor set in front of you and just grab the colors that grab your immediate attention. And just play around with them. You're now in a state of calm, so you'll be able to connect to the colors more easily. 10 minutes have passed. Do people still need maybe 5 more minutes? No? We're good? We're ready to move on? All right. So, I will ask if you can write in the chat what colors stood out to you. Just share your colors if you want in the chat. And while that happens, does anybody want to share a little bit of their art or their experience right now?
I'd be happy
Nice.
to hold mine up to the camera. I just fixed, let me see, where's my camera so I can see.
There
I
you are.
just, there we go. Oh, I got pinned. It actually, I sort of started this way at the bottom and worked up. It was kind of fun. I didn't immediately, I said, oh, I don't like the way that looks, but I just kept going.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And I love that you even shared that process of like, just like I turn it around and that changes the experience. So thanks for highlighting that too.
I can share my experience.
Sure.
Well, at first it was a little bit difficult when we were doing the body scan because I was noticing like colors that I didn't necessarily like. And I was noticing like colors that like I had a lot more tension than I thought throughout the day. So I tried to fight it a bit. And then you can actually see it when I went to do like the painting. Like you can see like here on this side, like the colors are like a little bit more like crumpled up. And then I was just struggling a bit with it and not enjoying my emotions. And then I remembered you said that if we start to like drift off, to like go back to the intention. Um, so I started to remember and I took a deep breath and I was like, the intention right now is for me to slow down. So then I started like doing that like over here and the kind of just using more like flowy strokes, and I noticed that I had tension in my fingers, so I kind of just like let that go, and just intentionally started to like slow myself down. And then I enjoyed the experience much more, which was nice.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely, right? Sometimes we can start to notice our connection with color and we already start to be like, oh, this is not a good color, this is a great color. And then we start like thinking, right? So we kind of like disconnect from the experience. So I'm glad that you were able to anchor yourself back in I'm just slowing down. That's all I'm doing. So thank you. Yes, Catherine.
Yeah, I noticed that I saw like a lot of different colors in my body parts, and I was really surprised by that at first. I do a lot of meditation and like meditating on inner light, and it tends to be kind of all the same color. And so it was really interesting. And particularly when I got up to my arms and my hands, like there's just this like heaviness being on the computer or my phone all day, and it really was in these colors. And then as I was starting to put them down on the paper, I started with the feet and kind of moved up, and I actually haven't quite finished, and it's a little bit drippy, but I will show you what I've got so far. Ooh, dripping down. I love dripping.
Ah, and then there's that beauty of the material, right? Just the that it allows to just flow and move things. And yeah, sometimes we can be surprised, by the by what we see during our again, our meditation, particularly this kind of meditation. And again, you can use this, daily and see how that changes. Because there's also mood, right? That influences the way we're experiencing life. So maybe we see different colors, right? Depending, like if I had a very stressful day, kind of what was shared earlier, maybe my colors will be very different than if I'm, in a good space and, and everything's flowing and everything's great. So it's like, you can use this as a great, check-in for yourself, just to make sure, that how are things going for you? And just noticing them, not judging them, not being like, oh, wait, no, this is wrong. This is not how it should be. It's like, it is what it is. And we allow it to exist. And when we allow it to exist, it just kind of like sips away. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much to everybody who shared. I'm going to share some colors in the chat that appeared. Purples, apparently. I see a lot of purples. Pink, yellow, green, purple, red, orange, greens. Purple, fuchsia, lavender, blue, red, yellow, orange, purple, brown. Red, yellow, black, blue, gold, purple. Well, purple seems to be very popular today. Because I also saw purple, by the way. Blue, yellow, green. All except green. Purple, blue, red, pink, orange, yellow, white, purple, magenta, orange. The entire palette of colors and a beautiful rainbow in there. Yellow, blue, green, red, murky green, magenta, purple, blue, yellow, green, blue, pink, red, brown, black. Nice blue, brown, pink, squiggly lines interacting. Yes, greens, brown, yellow, white, blue. And such talented artists. Thank you, Rosalind, for sharing that. We have yellow, brown, orange, and a mix of crazy colors. Beautiful. Colors should be that way. It's like they should be crazy too. Why not? They can be soothing, but they can also be crazy, right? When we think of the color palettes we use, sometimes we might be very familiar with certain palettes for ourselves. If I'm pretty sure I have a lot of artists in here. So you will know your palettes. And then it's interesting when they're not, kind of like what Catherine was mentioning earlier, of like, oh, I'm used to this. And then suddenly this other color appears. And how does it feel to create in colors that are in use, like, your usual colors, right? I know I use very bright colors in my art. And when that painting in the background that you might be able to see was full with pastels, I was like, why pastels? Like, I don't like this, but it was just calling me to create this pastel creation. Turns out it told me at some point, what you need is to slow down, tenderness, not intensity. This is about calming down. And I think the colors for that wisdom. So let us go back to our little presentation. Let me make sure that it's going. All right. So are there really healing colors, right? Like, why do we have this connection to colors? And there's many things, been said by science, by sociologists, by all these people. We all have a lot of opinions about colors, color theories even. I don't believe, in certain color theories. I don't think that they mean one thing. I think they're personal to each individual. But, some people believe they do have certain meaning. So one of the things, when we work with color, there's that sensory and emotional regulation that happens because colors do impact our nervous system, right? They influence our brain's activity, our hormonal responses, and our autonomic functions, for example, heart rate and breathing. And I was thinking like, well, if I'm in a room that has red lights, probably I'm going to start to get anxious compared to if I'm in a room that has blue light, right? Like there will be like, think about what colors would make you. Like if a room were lit only in that color, which colors would you choose, right? Which color do you think would be soothing for you and which ones would be more alarming, right? There's also the symbolic meaning and personal associations, right? We all have association to certain colors because of experiences, right? Like, I don't know, it's like, I know my favorite color is purple because my cousin told me her favorite color was purple when I was 5. And I just thought, great, forever, purple is the best color ever because I thought she was the coolest, right? Until this day, purple is my favorite color, right? We just can't help it, but have associations with certain colors to certain feelings. Then there's also the nonverbal communication, kind of like what colors can express when words cannot, right? If you see a stop sign, what color is it? It's red, right? If you see a yield sign, it's yellow. So there are that part of colors that we know communicate with us. Then there's, of course, the empowerment and choice. Think about when you can choose and control the colors that you're going to be using, that can give you a sense of agency, right? Like, I mean, when we're creating with clients who have limited ability to choose in their lives, we're like, hey, you can choose what color you want. That can give a sense of, agency of I can do this. If I'm coloring, if I'm in a coloring book, I get to choose the colors. It's like, yes, it's a page that, has a form that is already pre-designed, but the creative aspect of coloring pages is that I choose what colors I can use to color in. And what if I choose to go non-traditional? What if I choose to color, it's flowers, and I'm like, I'm just going to create funky, like crazy color flowers that don't exist. Like, I can choose that. I can choose to have that control over my reality. Then there's also the integration of mind and body. It's like when we apply color, we engage both cognitive and somatic experiences. Because when we actually select colors, when we mix them, when we apply them, we can help ground ourselves in the present moment, right? Think about like if you have paints or if you have watercolors, how they mix with each other. That's like a very cool experience that you can control, right? And you can choose. Or if you use paint, for example, right? And you're wanting to have a very specific hue, you can actually control that. And that is a way of integrating, right? Because you have to mix it. Then there's, of course, the cultural and archetypal significance, which is a little bit of what we saw, in our presentation earlier today of the exhibit, right? How there's this heritage of what like our culture tells us about specific colors, right? When we think of weddings, right? Oh, white wedding. You're like, well, not if in China, weddings are usually red. So there will also, we will have those significance to our own experience of color and what we decide. Where we were talking about like white is purity, or black can be grief, or, again, red is danger, or it's a stop sign. It all depends on your cultural heritage and where you're coming from, right? And there will be some universal colors, maybe for certain things, but the reality is that also specifically, we will relate to the colors differently depending on what culture we belong to. So, when we experience, like, think about the colors in your own cultures, right? Like, what are the significance? Like, how do you relate to them? Because you were told, or because you kind of like maybe inherited a belief about a certain color, and why you should use it or not, right? Why should we wear certain clothing in certain colors in certain times? It's like, because I know sometimes I could be very rigid about that. Anyhow, let me see, we have, will the PowerPoint be sent out? The presentation will be available through YouTube. All right. Well, for those of you who have to go, I salute you. Thank you for being here. And you can always, go to YouTube to see this. Anyhow, let's continue. So now we're going to be creating again. This time, this is what you will be doing. So we're going to, as I said before, connect to our body's sensations, right? I want us to connect now to our physicality. So what you're going to do right now is you already have a color palette in front of you that you already chose that has called you today. And so from that color palette that you see in front of you of the creation you just did, I want you to just kind of like choose one color that's in front of you, right? Just notice a paper in front of you and choose what color is calling your attention right now in this moment. And once you have that color in front of you, I want you to, we're going to do a little test before we do a little bit more art. So I want you to test with this color that you chose right now. Try to make some circles. We're going to test out form. Try to just draw circles and see how that feels for you. If it feels right for your body, if you feel like the circular movement feels comfortable, feels soothing, feels okay. At the same time, you're going to try to make lines linear, just straight lines, right? And test which form feels better for you, circles or lines. Prachi?
Nadia, are we doing this on the same picture that we just did or a different one?
You can do it on a different one.
Got
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So just test out. I'm going to give y'all like a minute to sit with circles and lines. And if you want to start sharing in the chat, if you already like realize like, oh, Ali, lines, it's like you already know. Great. But just test it out. Just notice in your body what feels better for you right now. All right. I start to see already. We have a lot of team lines and some team circles are starting to emerge. There you go. So if you can right now, just raise your hand if you are team lines. Team lines, there we go. And I know we have plenty in the chat, or if you're now circles, who's team circles right now? All right, tons of team circle over here, great. Oh, it's interesting because I usually do circles, but lines are calling me right now. That's what I'm telling you. We have to do this check-in first. Now that we did that first check-in, you know the form. Now we're gonna test out movement, right? What you're gonna do is, I want you to test out speed. If you chose lines, try to draw fast lines first and then draw them slowly and see which movement feels more natural to you or more comfortable, right? Just test. Quick, slow, or maybe you need to find somewhere in between. So just find the right speed for you right now.
I see we have 2 hands raised.
Yes, Paige, and yes. Yes, Paige, and then I'll have Brianna. Thanks, Jess.
Is this just for lines right now or lines and circles?
Just for the lines, whatever felt right for you. Like if you chose lines, then you test out like lines in speed. If you chose circles, then circle and the speed. Yes. Yes, Paige.
I don't know how I raised my hand. I apologize.
Oh, no, that's okay. No worries.
And I don't know how to undo it.
No worries.
I got a little crazy with my hands.
There you go. That's okay. So you're just testing right now the speed in which it feels comfortable to do the form that you chose earlier. Right, and you can also start sharing in the chat. What are you feeling more comfortable in the slower zone? Are you feeling more comfortable in the fast, in the speed zone? Fast, slow. Love it. Okay, let's see. What do we have here? Fast, fast, slow, medium slow, slow, medium fast, 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 slow, fast. Not sure. All right, all right. Keep testing. Fast is freer. Sometimes, you know, again, maybe our intention is slowing down today and you're thinking, oh no, I should be going slow, but my body wants to go fast. Just notice it right now. Just notice what feels natural to you because you may be needing to be fast to let that energy go before you slow down, right? So, but I know we tend to be like, oh, this needs to, I'm following the instruction. It's like, don't worry, just feel what feels natural right now. All right, so how have we tested? Who here is team fast? Fast, all right. And who is team slow? Let's see, yes. Nice, all right. Who is medium? Medium slow or medium fast? There you go. Like that can happen too. Beautiful. All right. So once you have that, right, you now have a color, a form, and a speed to start creating. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes, right, to simply create, like start creating again with the color, the form, and the speed. And then allow the process to guide you. Maybe halfway through it, you're like, you know what? I want a different color. Or maybe even right now, you're like, you know what? I really need to change the color. I'm not cool with this color anymore. You can change the color. You can change the speed. Again, it's just noticing, like, I want this minutes to feel like you're like, oh, this feels nice. If it's not feeling nice, then recheck. Do I need to change the speed? Do I need to change the color? Do I need to change the form? Because maybe I was doing lines and now, I don't know, circles are calling me, right? Whatever feels right for you right now to slow down, okay? And I will see you all in 10 minutes. Okay, just feel free. New page, new creation. Right, 10 minutes have passed. Do we need maybe 2 more minutes to finish up our creation? Or are we good too? You're good? All right. So, anybody want to share a little bit of your experience right now of creating this second piece? Anna?
I'll share. Um, I had a unique experience with this because the color that I wanted was pink and it's not in my palette. And so I ended up drawing these sort of rivers of red. And then I would clean my brush and select the white and then drag that through. And I was noticing as I dragged it through that there was this really cool thing happening, almost like just noticing how things were blending or moving together in this river of red that I had, and kind of the effects of it blending. And that just felt really soothing to me. And I was able to slow down to watch that because it was fun. And I'm trying to see how I could show you. Can you see that? So it's like these little rivers. And then I tried it with the brown as well.
Oh, okay. Was there any difference between the red and the brown? Just curious.
Yeah, I don't, red doesn't seem as soothing to me as the pink color that I wanted. So I think it was actually more soothing to do the little brown rivers instead. And actually, I think they came out a little more dramatic. Like, and you guys can't see it right now, but it really was like a chemical experiment where like all of it is kind of like moving on it. It was like alive, and it was just fun to watch. Anyway.
Thank you. I really, that's why I enjoy watercolors so much, because I think they have this aliveness to them when we're creating, you know, like the flow of the water can help us create different effects. And that of course influences the color, right? So thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
I can share next.
Sure.
So I had lines and fast, and so that's kind of what I ended up with. Also, I had pink as my color, so I just stuck with it, and I'm using the watercolor pens, and so I ended up going fast and just wherever my pen went, and then I naturally ended up going slower as I used the watercolor pen to like add in and shade and move things a little bit.
Interesting how even the, you know, like the tool that we use influences what we're creating, right? Because the experience of a pen, there's like some resistance, right? Like there might be some resistance to the paper, so that can cause a different experience than when we're doing the water and how it flows, right? But what I heard was also a change of rhythm, right? From like fast to slow. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And so before we end, I know we have 5 more minutes. I would love for everyone to use the chat to gift a color to the group today. You know, just gift a color to the group today and one word of wisdom that you gained from today's experience. Right? And I will be reading them out loud. You can use 2 words if you need, tops 3, right? So feel free to just poppy red, enjoy. Ultramarine, peace. Green and release. Pink, letting go. Blue, peaceful flowing. Blue, relax. I'm gifting blue. Neon pink, no judgment. Turquoise, listen. Green, non-judgment. Orange, slow down. Green, process. Soothing. Lime green, life is sweet. Gold, higher self. Dirt brown, slow joy. Turquoise, intuition. Light blue, grace. Yellow, optimism. Sorry, I lost myself. Okay. Alizarin, gentle. Yellow, be free. Blue, green, free flowing. Purple blend. Purple, intention. And my gift today is the color orange, neon orange. And my gift and my wisdom for today is shine. Shine away. Do we have any questions, any thoughts before we wrap up for today? We still have 3 more minutes. So if anybody else wanted to share, this is your moment. Sophia, yes.
Just thank you for having this. It was really informative and really nice.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that it brought you wisdom in some way. Joy, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, I really want to thank, Arts and Healing does these great Hope series. I love them. I love volunteering my time for them. I think this is such a great space to be able to create in group. There's just something different. Like I could be doing this by myself and it's just not the same, right? I see a lot of smiles of like that. Yes. Right. So don't forget, you can always come. And, again, I want to thank LACMA for hosting and for sharing, today, their art and helping share to the world how cool Latin American culture is with their cool use of colors. Oh, Prachi, is this something new for you? And no, I didn't know what to expect. Well, Prachi, I hope you had I hope you're, cool. No expectations means full of surprises. And I see a smile, so I hope that's good. Thank you for the healing moments. Was stressed before this class. I'm hoping that's because it's no longer there. Um, oh, you're the best. Thanks for this therapeutic, colorful activity. Oh, thank you. Gracias. Well, Chloe, if you only joined us a little later, this will be recorded, so you can always watch it on YouTube later. You can see the first half, and you get to see them the exhibit as well because we had a presentation, so you could get to see that. Yes, it's all about community, color, and letting go. It's so sometimes I think it's more complicated than that. Of course, you're welcome, Ellen. My pleasure. Well, thank you everybody for being here, and I hope we will see you soon.
I hope we'll see you soon. Before we sign off, if you want to stay on, we're just going to go into a little bit about who supports this series. So we could not make this possible without the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors. We're very grateful for their support in putting on this program, as well as through the Los Angeles County Department of Arts and Culture and the Creative Recovery LA Fund. And if you enjoyed the training today, or if you have feedback to share, I put in the chat a link to our survey. I invite you to take a few minutes to complete that. I'll also send follow-up information in an email along with the recording. And here's what's coming up for us at Arts and Healing Initiative. I hope we can see you at one of these upcoming events. So take care, everybody. Enjoy your Thursday evening. Thank you again for joining us. And thank you, Nadia Paredes and Elizabeth Gerber, for joining us today. And again, I am available, so please reach out if you have any questions about today's program. Okay? Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And thank you, Jessica, for holding this space for us.
Yeah. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.